For decades, a transatlantic partnership stood as the bedrock of Western security, a bond forged in war, strengthened in peace, and taken for granted in times of calm. But now, that partnership is unraveling. The United States and the European Union are no longer the allies they once were. So says one of Europe's most seasoned diplomats, Josep Borrell, former Vice President of the European Commission, sounding a clarion call to Europe. It's time to face reality. In a candid interview with Spain's Antena 3 broadcaster, Borrell did not mince words. He questioned what more U.S. President Donald Trump must do before Europe accepts a fundamental truth: the United States is no longer its main ally. For many in Brussels, it is a truth still unspoken, an assumption held so deeply it has become immune to evidence. But Borrell insists that the old assurances are fading, replaced by new fractures. From digital policy battles to public diplomatic affronts, the alliance is fraying. At the heart of the dispute lies Europe's bold attempt to assert its digital sovereignty. The European Union's Digital Markets Act and Digital Services Act, sweeping regulations aimed at reining in the power of global online platforms, have sparked outrage in Washington. American officials say Europe's digital rules discriminate against U.S. tech giants. The tensions reached a new peak when the United States imposed visa bans on European officials last month, including former EU Internal Market Commissioner Thierry Breton, accusing him of leading the push against Silicon Valley's giants. But the rupture goes beyond trade and tech. Borrell also spotlighted a deeper strategic concern: America's unilateral military intervention in Venezuela, a decision he suggested should serve as a lesson for Europeans. If Europe truly wants to shape its destiny, it must be prepared to defend itself, not merely rely on the American friend. And then there is Greenland, the sprawling Arctic island, whose strategic importance has ignited controversy across continents. In recent days, Donald Trump's renewed assertions that the United States must exert control over Greenland have sent shockwaves through European capitals. European leaders from Paris to Copenhagen have responded with a united message: Greenland belongs to its people, and its sovereignty will not be compromised. The alliance that once defined global security now faces its greatest test. A shared history cannot guarantee a shared future. For Borrell and many in Europe, the question is no longer if the transatlantic bond has weakened, but what comes next. Europe must choose: cling to old assumptions or build a new path that asserts its own role in the world. The era of unquestioned reliance is over.
A sharp diplomatic line is being drawn across the Arctic. Europe is closing ranks after renewed remarks from Donald Trump about Greenland. What began as rhetoric has now triggered a coordinated response from NATO allies. And at stake is not just territory, but sovereignty, alliance unity, and Arctic security. The United Kingdom has issued a blunt warning in the Arctic standoff. After Donald Trump renewed interest in acquiring Greenland, Prime Minister Keir Starmer flatly dismissed any suggestion of U.S. control, reaffirming Denmark as a close ally and declaring that Greenland's future is not up for negotiation. He stressed that the island belongs solely to its people and the Danish kingdom, nothing more, nothing less. Starmer's remarks followed a direct appeal from Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, who urged Trump to stop making what she called threats against a fellow NATO member. Speaking to Sky News, Starmer said he stood firmly with Frederiksen, calling her position right and unequivocal. Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper reinforced the stance in Parliament. She told lawmakers the UK would continue close security cooperation with Denmark, stressing that Greenland's future is for Greenlanders and Danes alone, and for no outside power to decide. The issue quickly escalated beyond London and Copenhagen. Leaders of 7 European countries released a joint statement reaffirming Greenland's sovereignty. The message was clear: Greenland belongs to its people, and decisions about its future rest solely with Denmark and Greenland. The statement was signed by leaders from France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, Denmark, and the UK, including Emmanuel Macron, Giorgia Meloni, Donald Tusk, and Pedro Sanchez. Together, they rejected any aggression against NATO territory and warned against destabilizing Arctic security. While the statement avoided naming Washington directly, its intent was unmistakable. European leaders framed Greenland not as a bargaining chip, but as a sovereign region whose status underpins NATO cohesion and stability in the Arctic. The coordinated response highlights growing unease in Europe over unilateral actions by major powers, even allies. With Arctic roots, resources, and military positioning in focus, Greenland has become a symbol of broader strategic tension.
First of all, I believe that we should take the American president seriously when he says that he wants Greenland. But I also want to make it clear that if the USA chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops, including our NATO membership, and thus the security that has been established since the end of World War II.